Welcome everyone. It is indeed a pleasure communicating on such a significant, vital topic that we have. Wherever you are, wo- this phenomena of climate change and sustainability, that is something which is uh, in cornerstone of every progressive discussion or debate that we have these days, and this is why it's very important to understand this entire phenomena in a very basic manner, not making it complicated in terms of calculating GHG emissions and advanced things in a very simplified manner. And why it is important, because anybody out there, he can have background with anything. He can be a student from medicine, he can be from philosophy, but this entire phenomena, why it is called a global common, it impacts everyone without discrimination of race, ethnicity, border. If the earth is warming up or the water is receding, it's a it's a worrisome thing for everyone, because if it is happening at one corner of the earth today, tomorrow it can be any other place, because that's why we share one thing in common, and that is the environment. So it's very important for everybody to look into these collective efforts, the entire framework, and how we can do our bit individually. Later on, this is just a brief introduction, we will target each indicator and we will try to highlight the entire process and the milestone that have been set globally to achieve that. So moving on, the climate question. So uh, I'll just say it like this, that it was seen as something which is for granted. I mean, there is no accountability. You can do anything. Uh, Empty the entire rivers, uh, cut all the trees, and nothing will happen. It will regrow itself. The earth will balance itself. Um, I mean, go for extraction of oil without realizing that the entire area will become so polluted that it won't be possible to survive there. However, to realize this thing, the world passed a few decades, more than decades, or even a century, I would say, because industrial revolution, when the machine started with exceptional efficiency, multiplying the produced load and waste, everything. From 1870 till 1970, you do not find much. There are bits and pieces, but nothing tentative. That's where the academia kicked in to countercheck the industry, the way it was behaving, the nations as they were behaving, the governments that the way they were behaving. And from 1970, sustainability, climate change, environmental conservation, preservation, its impact, they have been center stone of all the developments. Uh, by the turn of the 21st century, it was truly realized that this Mother Earth, it will not survive like this unless there is a tangible intervention by all stakeholders, by government, by industry, by individuals, each and everyone, uh, to draw out strategies which do not impact or which do not leave any carbon footprints, because they will harm the environment. And unfortunately, two things have stopped this. One is the economical discussion, weighing the economics, and the second is lack of ownership, awareness. Somebody sitting in Kenya, he might be burning crude oil and saying that he has no other option because the government doesn't supply it with any alternate like renewable or anything, or there is no infrastructure there. So whatever he is producing, like 20 kgs of CO2 every day, that is escaping to earth, and its impact might be felt in Finland. So that's how the entire thing revolves. This is what is uh, the most worrisome thing, that this divide of have and have not have somehow made this climate question a debate for the West, the developed countries, and the other segment largely those with the lower GDPs, they consider themselves a victim. I mean, they feel like it's their time, their due share to do the pollution as well. I'll not agree with that, but anyway, let's move forward. So, global commons is, it is important to say that if like we've got 207 countries, 207, 208 countries in United Nations. So if 207 pledge that they are not going to make any carbon footprints, and a country somewhere in Africa says that no, we do not share this idea, we will do whatever it takes to win political might, to win public opinion, to give people uh, active progress in terms of sustainable progress. So uh, these things makes these goals and vision very idealistic, because reaching to a consensus in such a divided world is very difficult. So this is why we see a great deal of effort from the West, from the developed, funding initiatives in the underdeveloped countries to mitigate the impacts, to reduce the emissions. However, there is a lack of commitment on the both sides, like the deprivation that the underdeveloped face, it's growing by the policies. It can be anything. We are not into a political debate here. We are here for the environmental debate. And the underdeveloped, they are not going an extra mile to do their social well-being, environmental well-being. So it's a lose-lose situation on both ends. And unfortunately, what is suffering? The earth is suffering by every passing day. So post 2000, we came across Millennium Development Goals, and their gone story now was in 2015. They were succeeded by Sustainable Development Goals. Commonly, we refer to them as SDGs, UN SDGs, for Vision 2030. By that time, the world will make concrete efforts to reduce the impacts on environment, so that our future generation can have a better living. We will now review the goals itself. No poverty to start with. Now, uh, if we go to the stats, that's again technical debate. As I said, we will separately discuss each of the indicator, its causes, the strategy, and everything. So it's a holistic view that there is a great divide. So poverty is something which is impacting a large population of the earth, and they need to be dragged out of it. How can they be dragged out? By giving them opportunities, skills, platforms where they can flourish. And of course, this is where all the efforts come in, from private sector, from the governments, from international funding agencies. So they all come together with this. SDG 2 is zero hunger. Some 861 million people every day, they sleep without enough feed in this to keep them going, and this is a big thing. And this is a little complex than the poverty one, because one is you do not have affordability to reach it, and one is the availability, because the climate change is directly impacting the sector, which is the agriculture, livestock, and it's a huge impact. And it has at the same time contributing as well, because in terms of mitigation, if you're not aware of the sustainable aspect, then in mitigation you do what is called I mean overdo something. Like if you require some specific 5 or 6 liters of some pesticide on a crop, and it is coming under frequent attack, so without knowing the causes, you increase the dosage to 10 liters. So what is happening? You are accelerating, you're igniting the same phenomena which is impacting you. So this is how zero hunger is. 3 is good health and well-being, that universally everybody has the basic right to access um, quality health services and lead a healthy life. Now, lead a healthy life is a different story, and access is towards availability of that infrastructure. Apologies. Quality education. There's a massive population of out of school children, then there is another massive group in the underdeveloped countries where adults they have got literacy. So they should be both formal and informal ways to bring people into the fold of education, because education leads to realization, awareness, and then ultimately this entire episode of Global Commons kicks in. Gender equality. Uh, Many societies they are restricted towards the empowerment roles of the women folk especially, and marginalized segments, and for that what is important is that inclusive environment is produced where the women are encouraged to participate as per social norms in the best possible manner. And yeah, you can, there's a lot to it. Clean water and sanitation, uh, usually we refer to as Watson, and that's because diseases they're linked a lot to the sanitation and clean water issue, and for that it is very important that water scarcity should be addressed and means are developed where it is available to everyone. Affordable and clean energy, and that's the renewable revolution we all talk about, such as wind energy, solar energy, and energy from waste. They all come into that. Decent work and economic growth, removing the deprivation between various parts of the world so that all can join the prosperous wagon where they can develop themselves, removing the difference of have and have not. Industry innovation and infrastructure, investing more on innovation which is positive toward the environment, and every segment playing its role towards the betterment. Reduced inequalities. uh, I mean, there should be every individual of the earth should have equal opportunity towards progression, towards surpassing the barriers which are there in terms of a lot of things, societal, national, state-based, these sort of things. And this migration phenomena which is happening will address that as well. Inequality of one part is leading to the influx into the other part, and then definitely takes its toll on the developed part as well. Sustainable cities and communities in future, this is where realization is to be built on whatever is being planned for the future. It should be based on sustainable footprints. There is no room for error anymore. Consumption and production. You see a lot of things coming in recycling material. I'll give you an example: cotton, organic buying, these sort of things. So they come into this. Now I think it's the third goal which has involved more toward the businesses and industry. Climate action as a whole, doing positive. This is the SDG 13, very important. Life below water, specifically targeting marine life, coral reefs, these sort of things, and life on land, soil health, forest, these sort of things. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. That's where freedom of speech, expression, international set of rules which govern the relations and the matters. That's how it is. And the last one deals with the partnership for the goals, that all the stakeholders, the government, the private sector, the industry, the non-profits, the for-profits, individuals, they all join hand, synergize their effort, and reach the goal. So this was the brief intro that we had for this segment. We will continue to work on each indicator and address other topics which are related to this. Thank you very much.